Good evening, my name is Dova and welcome to Walking and Talking in Video Games. Tonight we'll be walking through Ark Survival Evolved while I gently talk you to sleep, discussing whatever my ADHD brain decides it wants to think about. I'm so glad you're here and I want you to know that you are safe here and you don't have to justify your emotions. Now, let's get to walking. I went on a family vacation this weekend and it was interesting. I really don't like family vacations. I wish I could go on more friend vacations, but because family's just kind of weird, you know? You have to really view your family as like your best friends, otherwise it feels like an obligation to be there, an obligation to spend time. And like I love my family. Some of them some things have happened that make me uncomfortable around them, and then my two step cousins, I just don't really know them, so it was at times kind of awkward, but overall, I mean, it was more enjoyable than I expected. We went to this Airbnb that was, first of all, out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, but it was nice. I mean, the reception was terrible, but at least the Wi-Fi was free. But it was really cool because it was on a 10-acre property. And there were 3 buildings. 2 of them were houses, and then one of them was like a warehouse. And unfortunately, my dad, brother, and I had to drive 8 hours to be there. And everyone else, the maximum they had to drive was 4. Some of them were closer. Some of them were like, they were driving. We were all driving in from different cities, basically. But since we got there last, we didn't get there until the evening. They had reserved a room for my dad, but my brother and I didn't get a room, so that kind of sucked. But we slept in the warehouse, which was in between the 2 houses, and actually it was fun, and it was nice that we had that whole building to ourselves. But that was the party house, and my brother like started this thing where we were all treating the houses as if they were frats, so like each house was like a frat house, and then the people inside they belonged to the frat of that house. And the 2 houses that were next to the warehouse, one of them had an American flag out front and one of them had a Texas flag out front, so that was the Texas house and the America house. We were like, what should we call our house? And unfortunately we didn't come up with anything creative, but we just called it the warehouse because it's literally, well, it's not actually a warehouse, it's technically a barn that was converted into like a hangout space, but it feels like a warehouse inside. It's basically like a warehouse, but yeah, it used to be a barn, and that's on the Airbnb paperwork they refer to it as the barn, but we called it the warehouse, and that was absolutely the party house. It was nice having a bathroom to ourselves as well, because the other houses were like 5 rooms and each room there were 13 of us, so if they were split relatively evenly between the houses, that's 5 to 6 people to a house, and then my brother and I had our own. So having our own bathroom was nice, except for I struggled so much with the shower because it was one of those rain head showers, which is fine, but the water pressure was really low for some reason, and on top of it already being a rain head shower, which is like intended to gently drop water down on you, it was so hard to rinse off. But I couldn't figure out the hot water for my first shower, so I couldn't figure out the hot water until the last day. But so I thought it just didn't work because I turned it to the hot side and it got super cold, and then I like let it sit for a long time and it never got warm, so I was like, okay, well maybe the other way. And so I turned it to, because I figured it was reversed because the other part of it was reversed. There was a part where you could turn it to either come out through the rain head shower head or a portable like a handheld shower head, but the handheld shower head wasn't actually there. It was like you could turn the thing to turn it to the handheld, but the handheld didn't actually exist. But anyway, the thing that you would turn to make it be handheld versus the rain head was reversed. So if you turned it toward the rain head, like the picture on the handle, it would completely stop coming out of the rain head. But then if you turned it toward what was pictured as the handle, it would come out of the shower head. So I was like, okay, maybe the temperatures are reversed and the hot water just doesn't really work, because the hot side was making the water freezing cold and it didn't seem to be warming up at all. But the cold side was making the water room temperature. Like, very, the cold side of lukewarm. But it was the best I could get. So I showered in the cold water, and I hate showering in cold water. And I know it's supposed to be better for you somehow, but it sucked. So I showered in the cold water, and I was like thinking that if I got too cold, I mean, it's hot outside, so we just go sit outside and warm up. But actually, I got out of it and I felt okay. But then, yeah, on the last day, my brother had used the shower to rinse off after he went for a run in the morning. And so I was asking him about it, and I was like, yeah, the shower sucks, doesn't it? He was like, yeah. And I was like, so you just like rinse off in cold water? And he was like, oh no, I figured out how to do the hot water. And so then he taught me that I just wasn't waiting long enough. You have to wait like 5 minutes for the hot water to warm up. But I finally got my shower in warm water. Still, the pressure was awful. And also, they had not salt water, soft water. And I'm used to hard water. So, and I know soft water is like supposed to be the more luxurious water, but it makes it so hard to tell if you've actually rinsed off all the soap. So I was like in there for, first of all, with the super low pressure water making it hard to rinse off, but then the soft water making me wonder if I was actually soap free or not. So I was in there for quite a while just rinsing. But yeah, and also I was cold because since the pressure was so low, the water wasn't coming out of all of the little holes in the shower head. So it was like only coming out of the very middle in a small stream, and so I couldn't be completely under the water. And the shower was open to the rest of the bathroom, so the cool air just kept flowing in. So that kind of sucked. Because the bathroom was kind of big with a cement floor, and that is not very conducive to keeping the place warm, but it is what it is. And the towels also smelled very musty, but it was only for a few days. We got there on Thursday evening, left Sunday, technically Sunday afternoon. I'm surprised that we left so late. I don't know. My dad is never generally not in a hurry to get places, so. But it was nice. I've spent this entire, like, the past 5 minutes just talking about the shower, so let me talk about the rest of it. The drive was, I mean, an 8-hour drive is pretty exhausting, but, you get there, and my aunt's dog, my grandparents' dog, and one of my cousin's dogs was there. So that was nice. I was very happy to get there and see the dogs, because dogs are great when you're at an event and you don't like enjoy interacting with the people. You just interact with the dog, and you don't look like a loner sitting in the corner on your phone and your grandma's like, come join the rest of us, honey. You're the person who just loves the dog and you want to hang out with the dog, and they're like, oh, that's so cute, and they get back to whatever they were doing. So but yeah, the dogs were lovely. They were amazing and beautiful and so sweet. What else? So the warehouse, the barn that my brother and I were staying in, it had a loft, and that's where I slept, and then my brother slept on the pull-out couch downstairs, which, as far as like reaching the bathroom, he definitely had the better deal, because I had to go down this very tight spiral metal staircase. It's very steep too, to get downstairs where the bathroom was. A little scary, but I managed to not die, so that's cool. There were these giant beanbag chairs, like massive, huge beanbag chairs. They were super fun. The entire weekend, I would just, like, from a running start, run and throw myself onto the beanbag chairs. It was so fun. And it had the place had a pinball machine, but it was like a completely digital pinball machine, but I didn't even get to use it because it stopped working. Somebody was using it when we first got there, and like maybe the second day, but after that it just stopped working. And then there was also a one of those buck hunter games that like you have the well, the fake gun, and then there's the deer, and you're supposed to like shoot at the deer, right? But that wasn't working either because the gun didn't work. And there were supposed to be two, but the other one was just gone, like not there at all. So I couldn't do that. But there was a skee ball game setup, it's machine, I guess. And that was at least working just fine. So even if it wasn't, like, as long as it had the balls, all you have to do is roll them in a hole and you can just keep score yourself. But it actually was working, so it was keeping score. And I got pretty good at that skee ball machine because I'm not very good at the ones at arcades because I don't actually get a chance to practice. You know, you walk up, you do it, you continuously miss the 100 spot, and then you give up and you don't play, maybe play a second round, and then like you walk away and play something else. So it was nice to actually be able to like practice landing in the 100 spot. And the best game that I had was I got in the 100 slot 4 out of 9 balls. So that was cool. And that was against my dad. So I really got to flaunt there. But there was also a ping pong / pool table. So it's a ping pong table, but then you can take down the net and like lift off the ping pong top, and underneath is a pool table. So we played a bit of ping pong. I played it with my dad, but we weren't like actually really going against each other. We're kind of on the same team against the ball that kept flying all over the place because we're not very good at ping pong. But it was fun to run after it in that huge barn and try to bounce it back onto the table. And actually, there were several times where I would hit it out of way up in the air and it would actually land back on the table. So that was nice. I was proud of myself on that. And then they also had this golf simulator, which was like this giant tent-like structure, like a square tent-ish structure, where like if you know what a shadow box is for, no, not a shadow box, that's not the right term, but like one of those photography like little boxes that, well, anyway, not entirely important. Basically it was a square made out of like fabric, but there was a projector and a projector screen at the back, so it was projecting like this virtual golf course. And then there was a sensor that you could use real golf balls and real clubs and hit the balls at the projector screen, and you could really hit it. You go full force and like it would be fine. And that's, I mean, my brother played golf in high school, so had the experience, had the technique, and he was smacking that ball like I feel like that sentence was gonna sound not right, but no, but he was hitting it really hard. And the sensor like wasn't very good. It had a hard time picking it. Maybe it was just old, but I had a hard time like accurately deciphering the direction and power that each person was using. But I only hit the ball once, and I miss-swung like 3 times trying to hit the ball. I kept swinging over it because I guess I was too afraid of hitting the floor. So I instead went too far the wrong way and just kept swinging the swinging above the ball. But anyway, whenever I finally did hit it, it didn't go very far. Actually, the sensor wasn't even working whenever I was doing it, so it didn't pick up my hit at all. But yeah, I didn't hit the projector screen very hard. But that's okay. My brother didn't make fun of me, amazingly. I mean, he's been pretty good since we became adults about not making fun of me. But um, on the first night of being at the place, we. Oh, and I forgot, it had a big, like, speaker as well. Oh, and it had a disco ball. There was a full size, like, giant disco ball on the roof of the barn, or, inside. And so we would shine the flashlights at it. And then, because we were out in the forest, so we had, like, good flashlights, but we would shine them at the disco ball, and it looked like stars everywhere. It was so pretty. So that was fun. And then, of course, some party lights for the ambient lighting. They were shining patterns around the ceiling and the walls, and there were some lights that were just like color changing but like solid. So we really had the vibes going in there. And there was a wet bar, or like a kitchen. There was a refrigerator with a clear door and like a nice light so that you could see, intended for drinks and stuff. So you could see all your drinks in there, and it looked so nice. And there was a bar area with fake alcohol. Like, literally wrote in the handbook for the Airbnb, do not drink the alcohol. It's just water with food coloring. So, I mean, I'm sure you can picture. But we had our own alcohol, which I was really surprised whenever my aunt said that it was going to be a bring your own alcohol thing. Because I was like, are we really drinking at my grandparents' birthday/anniversary party? What? But yeah, we really did. And I did not get very drunk. Like, I got a little buzzed, but that's it. Because it's not like I felt secure around. I mean, I didn't want to be doing weird things at my grandparents' party. But my cousin, whose birthday it happened to be the night that we were, like, drinking, like, really drinking, and doing s'mores, of course, but he got hammered. He was very clearly drunk. I mean, he had, like, 3 or 4 Tokyo iced teas, which are like Long Island iced teas, but something about it is different. Like, it's got a melon flavor. It's interesting. But yeah, he had like 3 or 4 of those at dinner. And my other cousin, sadly, he had a couple. He was trying to have his third one, and he found 3 flies in his drink. So he was like, never mind. I'm not drinking this. I'm just gonna get a refund. So he did. Poor guy. But yeah, it was fun. We had, like I said, we did s'mores, but my cousin had gone to get skewers for the marshmallows, but they didn't have marshmallow skewers, but they had meat skewers. So he got meat skewers, but they were really small because if you can imagine a kebab, it's not that long. So we were all sticking our hands in the fire, and basically we had to like keep either trading off hands or like pulling our hands in and out and like unable to catch the marshmallows on fire or like toast them, because I'm a catch my marshmallow on fire kind of person, not a toast to a golden brown kind of person. Because if you toast it to a golden brown, it's not ooey gooey warm mushy on the inside, and that's the best part about roasting a marshmallow. So, but yeah, it was really hard because our hands were being singed as we were trying to toast our marshmallows because the skewers were so short. And then my step cousin was very proud of his fire because he had actually done a good job of doing the whole like log pyramid teepee thing to get the logs like in the right shape, and then his sister, my other step cousin, knocked it down. But the fire was good. I was pretty surprised that he got it going so well, especially since it was pretty humid out there. Oh, and I found a scorpion behind this little wreath that was like sitting on the ground, not on the door, but it was like sitting on the ground next to one of the front doors, the front door of one of the houses, and that was cool. So, because I stuck my hand like right next to where the scorpion was, and somehow did not get stung, but we took care of that problem. Didn't see any snakes. Did see this massive toad. This thing was huge. And I know the rule with toads. As soon as you grab them, you have to be prepared for the pee to come flowing out of that little toad body. So I grabbed her under her arms. They said it was probably a girl because of like how big it was, but grabbed her under her arms and I held her up so she could pee. And then I was gonna like set her on my hand, but she peed again. And then she peed again. And then she peed again. And finally I was like, okay, never mind. I'm so sorry, toad lady. I'm so sorry. But I tried to like set her on my hand so I could set her gently on the ground and like not have her legs hanging. But every time I tried to put her on my hand, she would like push her legs and try to jump away. So I'm so sorry, Madam Toad, wherever you are. I did not mean to freak you out so much. But my aunt's husky, he's still pretty much a puppy. He's like the over 1 year old but under 2 year old kind of puppy. Well, I guess I could have just said he was somewhere between 1 and 2. Anyway. The point is, he acts like a puppy. Plus, he's a husky, so he's got crazy energy. But apparently, he adapts to whatever animal he's, like, playing with. So if he's playing with a toad, like, stalking a toad, and he doesn't, like, intentionally kill small animals, but I mean, when you smother them, it happens. But whenever he's like playing with a toad, he will hop on the ground like a toad. If he's playing with a grasshopper, he'll do the same thing. Things like that. So they use some other animals as examples. I just can't remember what they were because there were like examples of animals that don't hop, but he's super funny. Whenever I would walk into the house, he would, like into one of the houses whichever one he was in, he would throw his arms up in the air like in excitement and then do this funny like hop from one set of legs to the other, like going side to side, kind of like a waddle, but like throwing his feet up in the air. It was so cute. He was so happy. Very beautiful dog too. So the first night, my step cousins made hamburgers. I was originally told it was going to be hamburgers and hot dogs, which I don't like either one of those things. And I know I am so super un-American for not liking hamburgers or hot dogs, but that's just me. Sorry, not sorry. So they made hamburgers, and I ate one because it was either that or starve. But it was okay. But my step cousin had made bacon jam, which is a thing he found on Instagram, which, what better way to get your recipes other than like Instagram and TikTok? Because even freaking Pinterest isn't good for recipes anymore because it just links you to one of those. Sorry, this is a quick tangent, but looking for a recipe on the internet and like through Pinterest links you to an article with a recipe. Any article that has a recipe, they freaking talk about the recipe for like 5 years before finally, after scrolling for 5 years, you get to the actual recipe. But then it's like mixed in with like pictures and ads and like weird tangents about how their grandmother used to love this chicken pot pie, blah, blah, blah. So trying to look up a recipe on the internet is terrible. But you find a TikTok video, an Instagram reel, or like picture with just the recipe, straight to the point. And I love the videos, like the TikTok videos and stuff, because they show you and tell you exactly what they're doing. There's no like question. And that makes life so much easier. And I also have heard that ChatGPT can be good for giving you recipes that are just straight to the point, but I don't know if I would trust it because I'm sure it's fine. I've never used it for a recipe, but I can just imagine like it makes a mistake where it tells you to use like 10 cups of baking soda, or I don't know. I'm sure you would notice if it like did something that crazy, but too much baking soda or something, and then your cake explodes in the oven, or however that would work. But I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so he made bacon jam, which is like, was it was like bacon bits. Well, he bitted the bacon himself, like cooked the bacon and like made it super crispy, and then turned it into bacon bits, like himself. But which explains why the house was so smoky when I walked in. Bacon is really difficult to cook without making everything smoky. I don't know why. I always struggle with it. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but I know I personally have always struggled with that. So, yeah, he had mixed the bacon bits and honey and something else. And it actually wasn't super like it was barely sweet at all, but I mean, honestly, it just kind of tasted like bacon bits that had like the slightest sweetness. But it was nice to smear some bacon jam on my burger. Uh, it just tastes like a burger with bacon on it. But yeah, it was okay. But the next night, my cousin made shepherd's pie, which if you don't know what shepherd's pie is, it's ground meat, various vegetables. He had particularly used onions and I think carrots and celery. Thankfully, my piece didn't have any carrots or celery in it. It just had the onions, which onions aren't great either, but they do add like a nice flavor. But and then so it's like all that and then some kind of like gravy, I guess, and then topped with mashed potatoes. And it was amazing. Like his specific chicken pot pie was so my mouth is watering right now thinking about it. But his chicken pot pie was so my mouth is genuinely watering. Oh my gosh. But it was so good. And it's been a really I don't know if I've ever eaten a meal that quickly unless I was starving. And I wasn't starving. I was just like barely even hungry. But I scarfed that down. And we had two full casserole dishes of it, and my cousin thought for sure we were gonna have leftovers. Not a single, like, we were fighting over the last bite. Not genuinely fighting, but like it went super fast. It was so good. And I wish that I could like somehow convey through this video to you how good it was. Wish I could just give you a taste of how good, because it was so good. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we needed like sides, like rolls or something to help us fill the rest of our stomachs because everyone just wanted more chicken pot pie and we could have had leftovers, but we did not. But it was so good. So that was the second night, and then the third night that night it was my cousin's birthday, so we went out to a Mexican restaurant. That was, I mean, there wasn't much near our Airbnb, which is out in the middle of nowhere. So we went to this Mexican restaurant that it was okay, but just for fun, my brother and my cousin, and not the birthday boy cousin, the other one, but and his girlfriend, we were all looking up the reviews of the restaurant that we were at, and we were like, let's go to the 1-star reviews. And then my brother was like reading them out in funny voices, but like genuinely the 1-star reviews did have their points, and we were reading this before we got our food. So eventually my cousin's girlfriend was like, you know what, I don't think I can read any more of these because I am genuinely terrified now, because the reviews were talking about like awful things, like this place is infested with bugs and stuff like that. And after my cousin found 3 flies in his drink, yeah, I think that review was right. But also, we were the only people there, and there were 13 of us, so it's not like it was quiet, but we were the only people there. And yeah, again, this was out in the middle of nowhere, but we were the only people there. How did this place stay open? This was on a Saturday night. I don't know why it was so empty. I mean, it was a good thing. It was nice having the whole place to ourselves, but yeah, it was interesting. No free dessert. Sorry, no free dessert for my cousin, the birthday boy, unfortunately. But, oh, no, never mind. They did give him a free drink. His first Tokyo iced tea was free. So that's nice, because that's better anyway. He said that if he'd gotten a dessert, he would have not eaten it. So at least the free thing that he got was something that he actually enjoyed. But yeah, he got super drunk. We had, my brother and I both got the, what's the word? Tortilla soup. And that was good, but so you know how if you order soup in a restaurant, you always have the option of you can get a cup or a bowl, but you never know what that really means, because sometimes it's a cup's the size of a cup and a bowl's the size of a bowl. But sometimes a cup is the size of a bowl and a bowl is the size of like a cauldron. So I was hoping that a cup was like the size of a bowl, because at the last few restaurants that I've ordered a quote unquote cup of soup, it's been a bowl. Like maybe a smallish bowl, but still a bowl. So I ordered a cup of soup. It was, no, I should have asked like how big it was, because it was genuinely a cup. I mean, thankfully I wasn't that hungry, which is why I wasn't too worried about it. But it was just a cup. A tiny little like baby mug teacup of soup. And it was pretty good. There was way too much corn in it for my liking, but I'm not big on corn. If I'm eating corn, I specifically want it to be corn on the cob, just like by itself. I don't like loose corn in my stuff. So, yeah, it was okay. But my cousin's girlfriend, or no, well, my cousin and his girlfriend shared their fajitas with me because I got like no food. But like I said, I wasn't that hungry. So, yeah, it was okay. The fajitas were pretty good. And of course, for the road trip, the 8 hours part, we got stopped and got snacks at every single gas station that we stopped at. So, but I don't know, I'm like weird about snacks. My favorite flavor is savory. So like I'm not a big chip person because generally they're just like very salty, and I'm not big on sweets. But I love like beef jerky or like a good meat and cheese platter. So as far as snacks go, I'm expensive. Beef jerky is not cheap. So I never know like what to get when it comes to snacks. But I think the first stop I got like a bag of pork rinds, and I didn't want the plain ones, but the only other option was spicy. And I'm not great with spice, so I was like, okay, I'll get the plain ones. But I don't know. My favorite stops were when we got food, like from a genuine meal. So, but that only happened twice, like at the beginning of the trip there and at the beginning of the trip back. So, but it was what it was. The drives were pretty long, but I mean, you put some music in your ears, you zone out. It's not that bad. I watched a ton of TikTok on the way back, and that's how I learned about the apparent obsession that the world has right now with, what is it called? K-pop demon hunters, and the song Golden. I had no idea. I had seen that movie pop up on my Netflix. I was like, that sounds incredibly cheesy. Why would I ever watch that? But as it turns out, apparently it's really good. I saw someone show like a screenshot of the ratings for Rotten Tomatoes, and it has a 95% critic review or critic rating and a 90% audience, or those are switched 90 and 95. But either way, insanely high. You never see it that high on Rotten Tomatoes. So that movie must be really good. Also, that song very quickly grew on me. And also, like technically, like the technicality or the technical, so, how do I say what I'm trying to say? The song is very technically challenging. It has insane notes that it hits, and then it like bounces around too. But oh my goodness, the belting in that song is so powerful, so good. So anyway, I definitely intend on watching that movie now because I never ever, and it, even just like admitting that I want to watch that movie sound or like makes me kind of embarrassed for myself because because a name like K-pop Demon Hunters, yeah, that's not something I ever saw myself wanting to watch. But with reviews like that and then like that song, I have to. So that's definitely on my watch list now, like at the top of my watch list now. I actually don't have much on my watch list because I just don't, I don't know. First of all, I don't have time to just watch things generally. Like, even if I do, I just end up reverting back to the stuff I already know that I like because I enjoy rewatching that stuff, but I hate wasting my time with something that ends up being like boring to me. So I have to pretty much know that what I'm gonna watch is gonna be good. And like if it's just a movie, that's fine. But like as far as getting into new shows, oof. I tried to get into One Piece once. It's not engaging enough at the beginning. Well, sorry if I'm offending anyone, but knowing that I was gonna get into 1,300, is it 1,300? I know it's over 1,000 episodes when I wasn't like even very engaged at the beginning. It was like, and I know some shows you just have to push through the beginning, and I had heard that that was one of them. And it's not like the beginning was bad. It just didn't really seem like the kind of show that I would really like that much. So, but yeah, I know that that's like a bad example because that is an insanely long show. But even just a show that has like 2 seasons, 20 episodes total, like that's 20. Like, say it's an anime and the episodes are only like 25 minutes long. Still, let's round up to half an hour and make the math easier. 20 episodes at half an hour each is still 10 hours of my life that I'll never get back. So I have a hard time with starting new shows. But that's just me. And like I said, I don't really have a lot of time for watching shows anyway. So, I mean, it is what it is. I don't need to find a new show. If I come across one, awesome. Like, I did enjoy watching the new season of, oh, what's it called? Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. And the first season of that was cute, but like, you know, just an average anime. I did like the art style, but the second season was actually really good. I would definitely recommend watching that if you haven't. But, or, you know, if you think it's kind of a show that you might like. But it's, I don't even actually know the genre that that show is. But it's cute. And I liked the twists in the second season. I won't give any spoilers. Oh, and Dandadan, that was a good show. I have not watched the new episodes though, and that is also at the top of my list because of course. I'm actually surprised there are already new episodes because it's not that long ago that it came out. I only watched it back in January for the first time. So, yeah, very good show as well. So, some things you just gotta give them a chance, but some things are beloved and not really worth it. I don't know. Like, like basically any isekai anime, as in that's the genre where the main character gets thrown into a world that's not theirs, like a fantasy world or like a video game world or whatever. Except for the anime, what's it called? I got reincarnated as a vending machine or something. Something about the guy turned into a vending machine. That was kind of funny. Just the whole concept of it is just so ridiculous that it's funny. But yeah, generally isekai anime, I tried to give it a shot because I like the idea of that genre, like being thrown into a different world. It's a nice little escapism type genre, but eh, generally the anime in that category are subpar. However, the shonen genre has some absolute bangers. Shonen is my favorite genre of anime. There's so many good ones. There's Hunter x Hunter is my top anime of all time, but then there's classics or well other classics like Full Metal Alchemist. Why did my mind just blank? A new like newer very good anime like Demon Slayer, or I mean One Piece is a shonen and that's obviously a classic even if it's not like one of my top anime. What's that? There's another one that I'm forgetting. Well, Naruto, obviously. That's a classic. One of my favorite anime, I'm just completely blanking on. What the heck? But shonen is absolutely my favorite genre. There's so many super good anime that are in that genre. And that's just a couple examples right there. But I I think that if Avatar The Last Airbender was like technically an anime, because it's American made, but if like if you could consider it an anime, I'm pretty sure that would be a shonen anime, and that's obviously a lot of people's favorite. Or, you know, that's like a lot of people really love that show. It is a very good show. Uh, there's so many really good anime. I was never allowed to watch anime as a kid because my dad thought that every show from Japan was stupid. And I wasn't allowed to watch anything that he thought was stupid, except for some reason I was allowed to watch SpongeBob, which was definitely very stupid, but I did love SpongeBob. And also, the one show that, like, the one adult show that he didn't have a problem with me watching was The Simpsons. I don't know why. But The Simpsons, you know, that's a solid show. I should watch more of it. I haven't watched any of it since I was a kid. And I remember whenever I, I think my dad or my brother or someone, we'd gotten the Simpsons movie one time whenever I was a kid, like one year, and for Christmas or something. But I remember a part of the movie, there was a part of the movie where Bart's junk was out, and like, I don't remember my mom like really freaking out about that, but the part of the movie where Marge yells, "Throw the GD bomb," my mom was like, "Oh, that's a bad word." She was like, "Don't listen to that. Don't say that word." She was funny, but that was a pretty solid movie as well. What else? I can't remember that anime that I was trying to think of, but I feel like Full Metal Alchemist is the one that I always forget in my top anime. But oh, speaking of anime, there's so many good anime openings, and like if I hear an anime opening that's really good, I have to watch the anime. Oh, you know what? Chainsaw Man, that was a good one too. And that has a banger opening. My all-time favorite anime opening is Black Rover from Black Clover. That is a good freaking opening. And you know what? I know everyone's like, not everyone, but generally people who really love anime like to keep their anime preserved in its original Japanese form. So like they will only watch subbed, and they're totally against the idea of English translations of the anime openings. But I think like when people make the English translations into a song, I think that's awesome. And it makes me appreciate the actual anime opening more because now I can understand like the emotional things that they're talking about. But yeah, so I really like Amelie. She's an artist that makes English versions of anime openings. She does awesome. If you're interested in that at all, totally you should definitely check her out because she's great. She does a really good job and she has a great voice. But yeah, which her translation of that Naruto opening, what's it called? Silhouette, I think, is really good. It's like opening 16 of Naruto or something. But it made me appreciate that opening so much more because I could understand things they were saying and like that it was more emotional than like I even expected it to be. So that was awesome. I love that. And sorry, I'm sounding weird, cheesy. Oh, you know what is not a I didn't mean to say cheesy. I meant I sounded like super white. But you know what is a really good anime that's not a shonen though is Promised Neverland. That is a great anime. And I love how it's like psychological and like a thriller. But and generally I'm not really like a thriller kind of person, but that is a freaking good anime. And I really like how they like really try to figure things like they show how they're figuring things out and like putting things together and making things work where like these kids are really smart, smarter than me. And so I like that they show that. And yeah, it was just a really good anime. They probably could have stopped after season 1. Like it probably could have been a one and done kind of thing. But a lot of people have complaints about everything after the first season, like including in the manga. But I won't spoil anything. I don't even remember like a lot of the complaints. It just like kind of had a different vibe, and Emma's one of the main three characters, but she like I guess became more dumb. Not like dumb, but just making dumb decisions. So, but yeah, you should absolutely at least watch season 1. And whenever I first watched season 1 was whenever I was we had that big freeze in I guess it was 2021. It was either 2020 or 2021. I think it was 2021. January or February in like the around the southeast part of Texas, we had that huge freeze. And so our house lost power and I was living with my roommates and it sucked. We thankfully only lost power for a day and a half, whereas a lot of people lost power for like several days or even like a week or two. But we only lost power for a day and a half, thank goodness. But it got down to 40 degrees in our house. So I had my dog and my bearded dragon, and we were keeping each other warm. I had Roscoe, my bearded dragon, like underneath my 5 layers of shirts and jackets to try to keep him warm because I mean he's cold-blooded. He couldn't keep himself warm. So and then my dog with me and like my roommates. I don't know. I didn't. Things were kind of weird with them. I was like upset with them because they made food on my roommate's grill. Because this was the only way we could make food because we didn't have any power and we didn't have a gas stove. We had an electric stove, so not having power meant we couldn't heat up anything, and we didn't have like any. I mean, that was like all we could do. Plus, we didn't have water. But my roommate's boyfriend, fiance, whatever he was at the time, made some food on the gas stove, which I didn't know how to use. And they didn't, like, they shared it with themselves, but not me, which, you know, on the one hand, they don't owe me anything, but on the other hand, I was like, wow, that felt like a wrench in my gut. So I spent the rest of that time just hanging out with my dog and my bearded dragon because yeah, I was a little upset. But so I played Uno with my dog. She won somehow. I mean, I raised her right. What can I say? But no, this ties back into the original point of the conversation because I finished Promised Neverland because I was stupidly bold with my phone battery and I was just so freaking bored. I didn't have any books, unfortunately. I was not prepared. So I finished like this. I guess I still had like 6 episodes or something to go of the first season of Promised Neverland, and at the time the second season was not on Netflix. I don't know if it is now or not, but I finished Promised Neverland during that freeze, and it did a good job of helping pass some time because I mean, yeah, the episodes were short, so it didn't pass like that much time, but it was still nice. And what a good show. It was a very good show. So I was, oh man, that freeze sucked. But my dog absolutely loved the snow. I don't, when we live in Texas, it never snows here. So the rare times that she actually does see it, she tries to eat it out of the air. But also, she just went like zoomed around the backyard, which was, had a pretty thick layer of snow. What thick for Texas? But ran around the backyard, and I would like throw it to her, and she would catch it in the air and like throw a snowball. And she was having such a great time. I have this really funny picture of her mid-run when she's like making a funny face, but because her like face is bouncing around, but she's funny. But she really loved the freeze, and how that thinking about her in that backyard reminds me of this time that she was playing with my roommate's dog, and they found a mud puddle, and she looked like a different dog when I saw her because she was covered head to toe in mud. And it's not even that she was a different color because of the mud, but it's that like her eyebrows were covered, and she doesn't have like different colored eyebrows. Like she's not one of those kind of dogs, but it just like it was like her eyes were staring at me out of this just pile of mud. So like I don't know how to explain it. Something about seeing her like that, she did not look like herself. And it was freaky. But it was cold outside, and I felt bad hosing her down with the cold water while it was already cold outside. But I mean, well, I couldn't take her inside when she was covered in mud. So like basically gave her a mini bath outside by rinsing her off and like trying to use the soap that like my roommate had brought out, but it didn't really work. Plus, she was freezing. So after that, we carried her to my bathtub upstairs and gave her a nice warm bath. And then she was feeling better after that. But she hates baths, so yeah. But she loves swimming, which is ironic. A lot of dogs are like that, I find. But, you know, I get it. When water's being forced upon you, rain, bath, whatever, not super fun. But when you can choose to be in the water, yeah, that's fun. That's fun. For her, that's fun. So she's very much a water dog. And I'm not that much a water person. I like the water, but like it's not like my soul belongs in the water the way that my soul belongs to the wind. So I am definitely, air is my element. 100%. But her soul belongs to the water. So, not sure where she got that from, but she is a lab mix. But it's one way that she differs. Because, pets, like, especially dogs and cats, emulate their owners a lot. Like, at the heart of your dog is you. It's pretty crazy, actually, how much they pick up on their owner's habits and stuff. But yeah, that one, swimming in the middle of January, just for the heck of it, she did not get that from me. um, she's the best. She's awesome. I love her so much. She's my child. She's been a little sick lately, but she seems to be feeling better now. I think her tummy's a little bloated, so I might have to take her to the doctor. But I I used to work at a vet, and I know that all they're gonna do, because I don't have any suspicion that she swallowed anything weird, I know that all they're gonna do is give her some, like, medicine, like some probiotics, probably Fortiflora. There's like the probiotic that we used at the vet that I worked at. It's just like one that you can order off of Amazon. So what's the point in paying for a vet fee? Because especially since like her symptoms have calmed down, I think her tummy might be like a little bit bloated, but not like bloated in the way that bloat is dangerous for dogs, but just like maybe a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, I don't have any reason to believe that she swallowed anything weird or ate anything weird. And she's really good. Like, she doesn't generally swallow things she's not supposed to. But generally, I mean, sometimes she'll sit there and she'll be like eating a part of her because usually if she's like tearing apart a toy or something, she'll spit out the parts. But every once in a while, she'll sit there and chew and swallow like some strings from her rope or something. Then I get on to her about that. But she's a very good dog. She doesn't usually do stuff like that. She's also very good around small animals, which is amazing. I'm so glad. But she is just awesome. Because I mean, I have a lot of small animals. I have the ferrets and Roscoe the bearded dragon and the snake. Unfortunately, there was one time that she got bit by the snake because she kept sticking her face in the snake's face, and well, she learned her lesson. But I mean, my snake's like 7 feet long, so like not huge by any means, just big enough to draw a little blood off of her nose, but no big deal. Just enough to teach her a lesson, basically. But yeah, she stopped sticking her face in the snake's face after that. But she still sticks her face in Roscoe's face, in the ferret's faces. But my white ferret absolutely loves Callie. She likes to play with her, and I, of course, supervise very heavily in those play sessions. But Croissant, my white ferret, will jump up and bite Callie's face. It's super funny. But they're so cute. But obviously, if you're going to allow your pets that of different species to play with each other, you need to very, very intensely supervise, especially if there's a big size difference or like power difference. But or if they're pets that are not known to get along, like you put 2 lizards together, they're not gonna play. But anyway, yeah, supervise your animals. But yeah, it was. What was I talking about? They have such a good time together. But watching the ferrets play together is so adorable. They will bounce around and like they'll like arch their backs and hop around with their mouths open. They're so freaking funny. I love watching the ferrets. And then they'll wrestle, and then they'll like run through the tubes after each other. And sometimes they'll get to be like one will be backward in the tube and one will be forward, and then they'll like the one will be chasing the other, but the other one's like running backwards to get away. It's so funny. They're hilarious. And also Mocha, my brown ferret, loves crunching water bottles. That's her favorite type of toy, like favorite sound. Favorite type of toy is water bottles, like anything that crunches like a water bottle. So I just give her water bottles to play with, because like I take off the label and the cap and stuff, and then the seal, like the water, or the little ring, so that she can't choke on anything, but she just will crunch a water bottle and she loves it. It's her favorite thing ever. One time I tried to squeak a dog squeaker toy, and I thought that she would like that because it resembles like the things that ferrets hunt. Ferrets are similar to dogs in that way. They'll like hunt live things that squeak, and like rats and mice and stuff. But she did not like that, and for some reason that completely turned her. She will bite, but like not in a mean way, in like she'll bite the top of your feet and it hurts because the skin's thin there, or like she'll bite your arm and just kind of like in a playful way. But she bit me whenever I squeaked the squeaker, like, but she didn't bite the toy. She bit me, which was like I was holding it not even near my leg that she bit. But so I don't know, it was like it turned her feral or something. But I guess if you have a ferret, beware of squeaker toys because your ferret might react super weird like mine did. The other one did not react because she's deaf. But yeah, Mocha did not like that, so I have not brought a squeaker near her since then because I'm a little afraid of what would happen. But yeah, Mocha's a biter. It really hurts when she bites the feet, but what can you do? One time, I was like crouching down near her and she bit my butt. I don't know, she's a little weirdo. But what can you do? That's ferrets. They're full of crazy energy. But you gotta love them. But anyway, we're at that point of the video where we're winding down and allowing you to actually sleep. I hope that this has been an okay. I feel like I've been a little energetic with this one. Just, I don't know. I guess I've just been normal. I feel every time I feel like I've done something wrong in the video, but really I'm just here, and every video ends up being just fine despite what I think I've done wrong. So I hope that this has been a good experience for you. I hope that you're asleep by now, but I have been trying out these 1 hour videos because they're just honestly a lot easier on me and what I have time for right now. But you let me know. If you want me to go back to the 2 hours, I'll see what I can do. But for now, we are gonna wind down, allow you to go to sleep, get your rest. You have a wonderful night and a wonderful day tomorrow. I hope that you sleep well, have good dreams, and I will catch you in the next one. Good night.